Hello, everyone. We're here today to talk about Star's new partner here, TrackPoint Media. We've partnered with TrackPoint to help our resellers develop more of a recurring revenue. Um, Today, we're gonna talk about how the program works and how TrackPoint helps you guys create the revenue. So today we have with us David Salisbury,
Hi,
Star's
everybody.
Director of Development, and Roddy Biggert from TrackPoint Media.
Hi there.
So please thank you again for being here, and please save all your questions till the end. We'll be sure to get to them, and a copy of the webinar recording will be sent out later today. So David, go ahead, take it away.
Thank you. Thanks, Kyle. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Yes, we're very, very excited to present today a solution that's very close to my heart, something that I've been working on for many, many years, and that's a way to generate revenue from actually printing receipts. So I'm going to spend a few minutes just talking about the why we've done this and why we think this is beneficial to you and to your retailers. And then I'm going to allow Roddy to talk about the how and how it's all done and that sort of thing. So if you can just get started with the first slide, that'd be great. So it's a simple fact that the market for advertising. So this is really an opportunity for advertising. It's really what they call is out of home, and that is the advertising that you see when you're not at your house. So that's could be billboards, it could be flyers that you see. In a retail environment, it's probably the adverts you see in a shopping mall, things like that. So that is fundamentally, take an opportunity that arises from the simple fact that people are not at their homes. They're actually out and about. So that is a massive market. That's why there is billboards on the freeways when you drive to the mall. That is why there is advertising on things that you pick up in various locations. And it's actually, when done correctly, it's actually bigger than the money that can be generated from transactional. It can actually be done. It's actually really, really profitable because, again, you're taking the money from brands who generally are desperate to have a communication with the end user, and you're taking that and you're actually using that revenue that they have to talk to people who are out and about. And the fact of the matter is that people still go shopping, people still physically walk around. So the opportunities in the malls and in retail environment to communicate to shoppers is just massive. So yeah, we just want to make sure that you guys can participate in this opportunity. So next slide. And so what? What can Star do? Well, this is a fact. Star's been very successful. We can thank our resellers and our partners for that. It's a simple fact that we see, or the Star printers see about, around about 200 million people a day physically transact and get a receipt across the Star network. The good thing about that is they're all unique. You don't often go to the same store twice a day. So it's a good thing for a marketer because you can have the same message go out at one particular store, for example, and it can change, maybe every couple of days or even monthly or bi-monthly, because the frequency of shopper is not that high. I can honestly say that I don't go to Best Buy every second day. So there's certain retailers which are you're not exactly going to all the time. And the bigger, this is why fundamentally we developed the PromoPRNT service, because we wanted to enable the retailer to advertise their own message and their own information to that shopper. And then ultimately, if that retailer wants to open their product up to something like the TrackPoint Media service, then they're able to participate in advertising to their shoppers, information that necessarily they buy from them. So there is a fundamental reason why we called it PromoPRNT. We didn't call it coupon print or voucher print because really we saw this as an opportunity to advertise versus creating, trying to pseudo loyalty program or anything like that. So really, it's designed to to create that targeted ad, and it can be something the retailer generates. It can be something that the community who's in generates, and in this case, it could be something that the brands generate. So that's really what it's all about. And again, it's built on the PromoPRNT platform. So if the printer is capable of PromoPRNT, if it's one of our TSP series in Windows, if an MC Print series, then out of the box, this printer is both PromoPRNT and TrackPoint Media ready. Next slide. And it's interesting. So e-commerce has really tried to damage or the physical retail in a lot of ways, but it's funny how in this particular case it actually makes the shopper more valuable, because if there's physically fewer shoppers going to a store, and that is dropping, I think it's down to about something like 90% of transactions are happening in store, which means it's lost 10%. Some of it shine. It's really an opportunity for those shoppers become even more valuable. So the message is even more pertinent when you're talking to a smaller audience. So there's a huge opportunity here, and as Roddy will explain, there's a revenue opportunity for you, the reseller, and there's also a revenue opportunity for the retailer, the person that you're taking care of. So it really is a great way to go back to your customers and talk to them about what are they doing about marketing, what is their marketing strategy, and would they be open to having, say, a third-party marketing service. So we really think this is a great opportunity, and I think that's all I have to say. And without further ado, I'm going to let Roddy take over and explain how it all works.
Thanks, David. Hi, I'm Roddy Biggert. I'm the CEO of TrackPoint Media, and want to talk to you about what we do, which is place advertisements on the bottom of receipts at retailers. We want to monetize that receipt for retailers, as well as create a monthly recurring revenue for the reseller channel and also the retailers that work with them. So what does this do? We generate revenue from receipts. So we actually place ads on the bottom of receipts. So as David mentioned, the out-of-home market is quite large, and what we think of this as a personal billboard that can be in front of an individual as well as go into the individual's pocket. So retailers get paid for the advertisements placed on the bottom of the receipts, and it coming through the reseller channel, that revenue is also shared with you, the resellers, as well. There's no cost for this program. It's all set up at no cost. And the retailers have full control over the advertisements and the advertisers are placed on the receipt, so nothing goes on the receipts without their approval. So how it works, we place ads and you make money. So that's the gist of it. What we do is we leverage Star's PromoPRNT service, which allows us to create an advertising network on the Star PromoPRNT application, and allows us to put out graphical ads onto the receipts. Once we onboard retailers, we add them into our ad network and gather some of the logistical data about those retailers, and then our ad sales team goes to work and goes out and sells that inventory. As I mentioned, full control for the retailers, so they have approval of the advertisers as well as the advertising content. So when an advertiser joins up, we do is send a potential list of advertisers to start the process of what advertisers the retailer approves to have on their receipts. And so then our ad sales team has the ideas of what advertisers will fit into that network. And then prior to an actual campaign launching, the individual ad is sent to the retailer for approval. We run different kinds of campaigns. Some are national campaigns and some are more local campaigns. If you can see this example on the right, it was a T-Mobile campaign we ran, which was specific to a location in New York City that wanted to drive traffic into their store. So it had a retail network that was within a few block radius of the store to bring brand awareness to the store and drive traffic into that store. So how does it work in terms of getting a retailer into the network? The first thing is once a retailer is informed of the program, the first step is to sign up with us for our retailer agreement. And then once that's going, we can activate the PromoPRNT service. It allows us to have access to the receipts. We usually then launch what's called a placeholder message to start gathering some statistical data on that retailer, so we can see approximately how many receipt transaction prints happen per day, per month. So we have some volume estimates. And as I said, we'll send out a list of potential advertisers to start the pre-approval process with those retailers. And at that point, the retailer is fully on board and ready within our network to be, that inventory can then be sold. Ongoing, what happens is as advertisers come in and want to be on a specific retailer, that advertisement is sent out for approval. We at TrackPoint manage all aspects of the campaign. So we push the ad out via PromoPRNT. We schedule it, deactivate it once the time is run, and then we send out payments based on the advertisement and how and the campaign metrics. So the big question is how much money is involved. As I said, the goal here is to create a monthly recurring revenue stream for both the retailers and the resellers that bring those retailers into the network. You'll see the dollar amounts here, and they don't just depend on actual volume. There's several other factors involved, mainly like the location, as well as the demographic and the type of retailer, hospitality or traditional retailer. So that's why the ranges are involved in there. And they've broken them out by potential size of retailer. This range can vary depending on what type of retailer and the individual metrics. Basically, our job as the advertiser is to go out and sell the advertising and sell it for the greatest amount possible. And the last column there is, as resellers, the goal is to, the more retailers you can add into our network, the more recurring revenue that comes your way. And finally, how to get started. As a reseller, we have a reseller program in place. You can join our reseller program. We can provide marketing materials that can go out to your retailers. And then it's reach out to your retail network. And our retail partnership team is here to help as well. We can talk directly with the retailers after you've had your initial discussion with them, help explain the program more and thoroughly. We can train some of your staff as well in terms of the program and the details involved. But we're here to help you with whatever you need to actually get into that retailer network and onboard them onto the process. And that is the summary of the program. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Roddy. Seems like a pretty straightforward program. Everything's simple to use, quick to connect. Do have a couple questions. About how long does it take from like a reseller starting for them to actually start earning a revenue? What's like a establishment for it?
Once they're up and running on PromoPRNT and we have some of the demographic data, then they're in our network. And, it can be as soon as, they're ready. If we have pre-approved advertisers and we've already somewhat pre-sold inventory, it could be a matter of days until we turn it on. A lot of it depends on, our sales process in terms of reaching out to advertisers and where we have a need for advertising.
Okay. What kind of placeholder messages do you guys use for testing, like to see if the retailer is eligible?
Right.
Or?
Yeah, the idea for the placeholder is to put, have a nice day message or some small text message, like text on the bottom of the receipt, so that it's actually running through the PromoPRNT service, and the PromoPRNT actually will start collecting volume metrics. So we will have that message run on the bottom of the receipt. And we will start seeing how many prints a day they do, how many prints a week and a month. So we have some volume estimates for when we are pitching it to potential advertisers.
Mm-hmm. Roughly how long would a campaign run for these retailers?
It's usually a minimum of a month. In some extreme cases it might differ, but a month minimum to 3 to 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What kind of companies have you worked with to put on the receipts? What advertisers?
So, I mentioned the T-Mobile one. So it varies from, there's insurance companies, there's a lot of CPG companies as well, and then event companies, telecommunications companies. There's two types. There's kind of the mass media brands that want to be in front of most people, and then there's more targeted regional campaigns that want to promote either store openings or businesses within a certain radius of where their advertisements can be placed.
So they really look at they really look at like the demographics of the of the area that
definitely.
the retailers.
Yeah, I mean that's how advertising is sold based on demographic reach and number of eyeballs, and what's called a DMA, which is the marketing area. So it's kind of location based. Financial companies is in there as well, such as credit card companies. They want to be in front of people. To say like a restaurant, there's a certain kind of dining credit card. They want to be in front of diners at restaurants. That type of targeting.
Okay. David,
so
question
typically
for you.
you would, yeah, sure, yes, sorry. I apologize. Yes.
I'm sorry. Is it possible to add this to like the older printers, or is it just for new retailers?
Yeah, so again, the key component here is that the printer should be PromoPRNT ready. The reason why we want to use PromoPRNT for this, there's many ways to print images, but the reason why we use PromoPRNT is that because it's able to be cloud managed and monitored. So in other words, the PromoPRNT engine knows exactly how many promotions printed on which promotion printed at a particular store. So I'll give you an example, and this is a question that I have had to me a number of times from retailers when I'm talking about this program, is they don't want to give up control completely just yet. Maybe they want to print their own promotions. So let's say, for example, they want to print a mixture or a hybrid of promotions that they've come up with on adverts that they have, like, for example, now hiring or changing office hours or stuff like that. And they also want to participate in a revenue model. So the beauty of using PromoPRNT for this is that I believe that they are able to have a mixture of their own promotions and supplied promotions, and of course the revenue stream would only apply when the retailer is printing a brand promotion. They're not going to get paid for printing a now hiring promotion. So although many style printers can print images, we want to use the PromoPRNT engine because of not just of the fact that it's cloud scheduled and cloud managed, but the fact that we get the beautiful reporting that's so necessary for the financial gain that's available.
So, a question for Roddy: do you guys have a presence in Canada or international, or is this only U.S.?
Canada, yes, we do have some Canada. We haven't been outside of the U.S. and Canada. There's no reason we can't. We just don't have a network out there that's causing us to push advertising sales out there. But if the volume is there, there's no reason we can't be outside of it as well.
Okay.
The question I got to me, Roddy, is what happens once it's set up? Is the reseller active at all, or I mean, how hands-on do they have to be?
Once it's set up, there's really nothing. It's basically our ad sales team has those retailers into our network, and then our job is to go out and sell that space. So once it's activated, it's all within us, and we use the PromoPRNT service to schedule those campaigns and push them live and switch out to the next campaign and such.
Right.
That's the beauty of PromoPRNT.
Exactly, and the revenue stream comes from views, right? So I mean, we're not talking about redemptions, or we're not talking about I mean, it's just the fact that it printed, right? That creates the revenue. That's why the revenue, I think, is relatively low, because obviously in the advertising world, there's a thing called there's views, clicks, and there's redeems, right? So even Facebook is struggling with redeems. So I think that if we look at the Google and Facebook model, this is all about views. And it's interesting. The thing that you told me was that this is sort of contrary to everything I've ever heard, and I think it's worth sharing, is that the most valuable piece of paper, the most valuable advert in a restaurant, for example, is actually the merchant copy, not the customer copy. And that surprised me. Yeah, it's a CPM model, which is paid per the views, so it's all about impressions. Obviously, the impressions cost different amounts based on where this retailer is and what type of retailer. An impression in Times Square, New York City, costs more than an impression in the Central Midwest. It's just similar to a billboard is going to cost more in more high demand areas. Again, so demographic
the impressions
as well,
cost,
right?
Yeah, so and the type of retailer. So you have the type of retailer kind of already dictates a type of person there. You have someone in a restaurant versus someone in a store. It's a different type of impression or a different type of different type of purpose person. The merchant copy comes down to there's a physical engagement with that actual piece of paper where someone is adding a tip, totaling up the amount, and signing it. So there is a very direct impression onto that actual piece of paper. So it's a higher value.
Do some of the retailers put a call to action like a URL or a QR code? Are there some of the retailers looking for that sort of that sort of click type experience?
Yeah, absolutely. There's promo codes, there's URLs, there could be phone numbers, there can be QR codes. All that tracking metrics can be on there. It really is depending on the type of campaign they're running. We've done several where it's actually like a discount offer as well, to either go online or actually bring that receipt into a physical location and redeem the offer.
I think it's certainly easier to scan a QR code off a receipt than it is to scan off a billboard. That's for sure. So I think there's a huge value there. But again, as you say, it depends on the retailer's desire in terms of that view, right? And that's something that the advertiser would set. The advertiser would set versus the mechanism per se.
Yeah, and the advertisers, it's sometimes in conjunction with other programs they're running, both media as well as out-of-home campaigns. This is an enforcement to those campaigns that they're already running.
One of the dreams that I've always had in the Star world is because Star is so popular in the small to medium businesses and very popular in that downtown area. The smaller retailers. I always imagine something like a community aspect where potentially one retailer could advertise to another retailer. So could a retailer join the TrackPoint Media Network and sort of like maybe a big box store or a parking center or something that has wants to generate traffic to their local store? Could they participate in this program if they were to contact you? Does it have to be Geico?
No, not at all. I mean, that's the beauty of it is it's similar to a digital ad network, but it's actually a physical ad network. And so you can pinpoint down to, advertisers can pinpoint down to even a specific individual location if they want to, or a small regional network. So it's, the network is available to dissect however an advertiser wants to.
So an example that could be potentially that the grocery store, which is typically an anchor of a community, they could be potentially advertising at a dry cleaner, at a pharmacy, and at a hairdresser, for example, in the local mall. I mean, could it be
exactly.
that granular?
Yep.
Wow.
And they can you can pick down to each location, be like, I'm located here, and I want to be everything within a 5-mile radius, or even pick and choose within that 5-mile radius, based on the type of retailer and demographics that you're going after. You choose those locations.
So I'm a reseller, and I'm just walking up and down the street, plonking down little money makers everywhere I go, not installing printers anymore.
That is true.
So we got a
Sorry,
question,
Colin,
Roddy.
No,
that's fine. Roddy, what type of feedback have you received from like retailers? Kind of like how effective are these campaigns? What's your overall reaction from them?
From retailers or from advertisers?
Yeah.
Well,
I guess you could speak to both.
So the retailers, it's been a great success because it's basically free passive income to them, and it's most of them it's a small process of we present them with an advertiser, they're like, this looks great, and that's all they are really ever involved in, and then they receive a check every month basically. The advertisers, it's been a great response because it's somewhat of a new medium for products that want to be in stores where people are buying their product. It hasn't been done before. We had the T-Mobile campaign actually hit their monthly goal within 5 days of launching the campaign. So it was a big success for them.
I have a very simple question, Roddy. Who pays for the paper?
Retailer pays for the paper, so it's really just an added, basically 1 to 2.5 inches of paper onto the retailer. Again, that paper is only being used when there's actual campaign and revenue being generated. So if nothing's printed, there's no additional paper costs.
Right. And typically we wouldn't enable the kitchen printers or anything like that. We would only enable the receipt printers, right? The bar receipt printer. We don't need to completely drop out all printers in the store, I would imagine.
Yeah. It would just be customer facing printers.
So David, a question for you, I think here. The question is, does TrackPoint see an increase in hardware requests for this PromoPRNT? But I would assume that's coming more directly. Does Star see a request increase?
I mean, the simple fact is this: that if you do the math right, and if you're able to get a high value retailer, then the printer purchase becomes irrelevant, because the revenue return to both the retailer and the reseller is huge. So, of course, it can generate more printer sales. And obviously, if the printer is, an impact printer, and needs, like, I've seen in Canada, for example, it needs to be a thermal printer. So obviously, that's going to generate a sale. But the math has to be done. If you're going to generate printer sales just on this solution, it might be a hard sell. I think the better way to say to the retailer is, look, you're going to print receipts anyway. You're not, you've invested in this hardware anyway. Why not turn it on? So I sort of, it is a great opportunity to create a conversation about upgrading potentially their internet network and the type of printers they're using. But I wouldn't say today that we're in a position where we can say, if you're going to throw a printer down in 3 months' time, your ROI will be so high that you've paid for the printer. I think that we're not there yet. But I do believe that if someone has a Star printer and they have a capable Star printer, and there's a lot of them out there, we sold a lot of TSP100s on Windows, we sell a lot every day, then they can turn that printer on and have that printer be part of this network and just generate extra revenue that they weren't already receiving. I mean, years ago, there used to be companies that put adverts on the back, and the whole business model there was very simple, was to help give the retailer free paper. So this is not so different to that business model. Again, Airbnb is not so different. They just provide a different mechanism for me to sleep at someone's house. And Uber, taxis and rental cars have existed for many years. I just get to give them in a private car. So this is not that radical in terms of of disrupting the retail experience. It's really about refining and creating a better experience because of the fact that it's on demand. You only print the number you want. We can track exactly how many are printed of which promotion and where. So I think it's adding that refinement to an existing simple business model. So, when we talk about the return on this thing, it's advertising. It's pure and simply that. So I think it's very important to remember that, and it's very cost effective because we're not increasing any costs into paper, only using a little bit more of the paper they already have. We're not asking to buy a new printer, and provided it's a Star printer, of course. They can already use TSP100s. We started building those in 2005, so that's 11 years. Someone can have an 11-year-old printer or more, and and it'll work. So we're not forcing people to buy a new product and stuff like that. So I think this is if you look at it with those eyes, the opportunity is just massive.
Okay. Roddy, how does this work within a restaurant? Does every printer have to be connected?
Well, every printer, in order to get the volume, we'd want to be every printer that is printing guest checks. As we said, it doesn't need to be on the kitchen printer or anything that's not going out to the customer, but any station where waitress or bartender staff is printing a guest check is where we'd want it to be activated.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Just to get the most volume possible.
Right, of course.
And as we all know with PromoPRNT, you do not require any modifications to the OS. This is the whole point of this program, is that the printer is doing all the work. In the case of a Windows and TSP100, you will need to upgrade the driver and enable it through the driver. But in terms of the actual POS software, zero changes are required, and this is really important.
Yeah.
You know, time to install should be under 5 minutes. You know, that's really the whole goal here. So you can walk in, plunk a star printer down, get it up and running, and you know, obviously you have to need the advertiser to generate the revenue, but if there was one ready to go, you know, day one, that printer's generating revenue for both the reseller and the retailer.
All right. So, David, so just to be clear to everyone, if there's already a star printer in a Windows environment, the process to actually activate it is what?
It's just to change the driver. That's all. So it can be, so the models can be TSP 650, 700, TSP 100. Any star printer that is running on a Windows PC today can just change the driver out, which is really very, very easy to do, and you're in business. It's really that simple. If it's an iPad or a Mac or a more complicated install, talk to the Star team. We will advise you. Some cases we can do it with a printer. Some cases we need to do it with a driver. But certainly for Windows, there is no barrier. But on the other side, there may be a case of swapping the printer out, which may be a tough initially, because obviously they've got a printer that's working. But certainly for new business, making sure that the MC printer is top of mind, so that one day, and how can the retailer tell you that in the next 3 to 4 years, I never want to do this, please give me the cheapest printer that you have. Rather, is an opportunity to upsell to them to MC Print and say, look, if you buy an MC Print, then you'll be able to enable this when you're ready. So I think it's a really good opportunity to upsell to the hardware for new installs, for iPad especially, and knowing that you're able to, when they're ready and if they generate enough volume, they're in the right location, then they can be part of this program.
So how do the resellers go about getting started? What should they do? What's their first steps?
So first, they can contact me. My email is there on the screen, rbiggert@trackpointmedia.com. And, we have a reseller agreement that we can put in place that allows us to have our partnership, which spells out what needs to get done. And then it's, we have the marketing materials, I said. Happy to, we have a one-pager you guys can share with your retailers, which will educate them on the program. We're happy to talk directly with you and the retailers to tell them more about the program and start signing them up. Sign up a retailer. We have a simple one-pager agreement that just has them join the program. They can cancel anytime, so the commitment is try to make it as easy as possible to get retailers onto the network. And then once they're signed up, it's really just the process of getting the PromoPRNT activated and start tracking their metrics with a placeholder message, and then our ad sales team has them available as the inventory. So really, reach out to me as a reseller, and we can take it from there.
And from the Star side, we're really looking for quality, not quantity. We really want to make. We've got a lot of very loyal resellers that have been working with Star for many, many years and installed many, many Star printers. They're the guys that we really want to help work with. We can't run this out to every reseller. It's impossible for us to do this initially. So we really want to work with the guys that want to work with us. And there'll be a few bumps in the road. It's not going to be perfect, but I think the thing here is that there's a huge opportunity. Working with the retailer in their marketing mind is way more interesting than working with the retailer with their operational and transactional cost mind. It's a much more interesting experience, and it's something that has been poorly tapped into at our level. So this is a huge opportunity to really, help the retailer be a better retailer, help the retailer communicate to a shopper, and help the retailer be valuable in a bigger ecosystem. But again, we would prefer quality versus quantity. So we are looking for resellers that want to work with us, who we will help train, make sure they've got the right hardware, and support them to get this up and running as well.
Does PromoPRNT work in a Linux environment?
On the MC Print, yes. If the MC Print printer can print, then the PromoPRNT can work. So remember, the MC Prints don't care what the host is. It can be iPad, Android, Mac, Windows, Linux, can be anything. As long as the printer can print and cut, then of course PromoPRNT will work. The printer itself will need to be independently connected. So there is an Ethernet connector on the back of the printer that needs to go out to the router, and that printer will then call home and say, okay, it'll download all its promotions. In this case, it'll be the advertisements for those brands. And then when the trigger is that the printer has printed a receipt from the POS, and then it will print. So the long answer to that simple question is yes, the MC prints will work perfectly for Linux environment.
Okay, that was our last question here. I know both of you are going to the National Restaurant Show in Chicago. Be a great time to schedule a meeting with both Roddy and David to see for more information or anything.
Actually, Kyle, I am not attending the NRE. I'm double booked, but we have a big team. I mean, we have a lot of Christoph and John and a lot of the guys from the US, some of our sales guys. We've been working with Roddy now for some years. We've been working together and developing the technology. Everyone at Star understands this program, so if he's got a Star shirt on, then have a chat with him and join the program.
Yep, and we will be there. So I myself will be there as well as some of our retail team and ad sales team. So reach out to me if you're going to be there, and we can set up a time to meet.
Okay. Do you guys have any final comments you want to say before we go?
I just want to say this in conclusion that really this is a huge opportunity. It is a Missy with Star, but this is really what we built the whole solution for, and we're really proud and excited to have a partner such as Roddy, who's already got runs on the board, who already knows what he's doing, and actually I got to commend them. Their adverts are actually better than some of the stuff that I've done. So they really know what they're doing, and I think this is a huge opportunity for our network and our reseller network, because there's no victim here. I mean, it's just taking what the advertisers and the brands want to say and delivering it to the shopper, and no harm, no foul. So I think that there's no negative here, and so the penalty for failure is zero. The opportunities are massive. You get all the positives are there. So why wouldn't you try it? That's really the bottom line as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and it's Star's been a great partner for us as well in terms of rolling out this new product, and whatever we can do to help resellers join on and talk with their retailer network is that's where our expertise lie, and so we're happy to do that and create this revenue stream for everybody.
Great. Thank you both for your time. Thank you everyone who attended. Like I said earlier, we'll be sending out a recording of this webinar for you guys to rewatch, and thank you. We'll see you next time. Take care.
All the best.
Thank you.
Happy Thursday. Thank you. Thank you, Carl. Thank you, Rod.
Bye.